Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the Dirty Pat Walsh channel here on YouTube with me, your host, Dirty Pat Walsh. That's right. I can't get it. These $14 East Top jobs. I don't know. This one's kind of looking messy right now. It needs to clean. What a steal, man. I mean, what a steal. They play so well. They're so responsive for a $10 harmonica. 14 in Canada, but in America these are $10. Totally worth it. Best $10 harmonica ever, in my opinion. Though it's kind of hard to clean for some reason. I don't know. Anyhow, the East Top 10 hole. That's what they call it. The East Top 10 hole. So great harmonicas. $10. $10. Line up, everybody. These are really my new jam though. These ones, I love these. Playing these at church, playing them in the cornbread choir. Oh, they're great. Anyhow, it's here we are on Thursday. It's another. I'm gonna do a little stuff and things vlog here. I did one last Friday, and I was talking about Peterborough. And why it's a cool city, or why what makes it a cool city. And when I moved here 32 years ago, I moved here in 1991. When I moved here, it was like a mass exodus, or I don't know what you'd call it, like people coming into town. Like right around 1991, 1990, between 1990 and 1993, I'll say, there was this influx of artists that just ended up in Peterborough that were really diligent, creative and productive artists. When I moved here, there was this community-run theater that I was heavily involved in. It's one of the reasons I moved to town. When I moved to town, I was 21, and I was living in Oakville, Ontario at the time, which is about three hours west of here. It's just outside Toronto. It's encapsulated in what's called the Greater Toronto Area, so I guess it's part of Toronto now. But when I grew up, it was just Oakville. It's the suburbs. It took 20 minutes to get to Toronto in a car or on the train. It was like just a hop, skip, and a jump away. But yeah. But anyhow, like once high school ended, I was always like kind of an outlier, an outcast kind of guy, a loner. I'm a loner dotty, a rebel, I never had more than a couple friends, and I kind of liked it that way. The popular kids just didn't appeal to me at all, and nor did I to them. So, but yeah, due to I used to get gay bashed a lot in Oakville. And I'm not gay. But I would get gay bashed a lot in Oakville, or like I had a reputation of being gay. that followed me right up until I left. I was, people knew me as Homo Pat. That was my nickname in Oakville, Homo Pat. To not within my friends, but to people at school and stuff. Um, you know, and it really sucked. And so there was a lot of that going on. There was, I'll tell, yeah, like the night, like just it must have been like the night before the night I left town or something. It was right before I left town, and we went to this. Me and me and my buddies, we had a house on Kerr Street in Oakville that was it was just a punk house, like just a total punk house, and there was a party like just around the bend from us, and like there was a girl that my roommate was kind of hanging out with who was involved with these people, and it was our, like, I don't know, I was leaving town. I didn't really care about much. Everyone hated me anyway. Um, and so I don't know, I went to this party and I was ever since my late teens, I was a heavy drinker. I started drinking quite heavily around age 17. Um, I started drinking before that, but alcoholism had gripped me at that point. And, you know, um, when I turned drinking age, like it was like, you know, all bets were off kind of thing. I was a drunk, like I was just a drunk, and because I was so unhappy, and there's just nothing. I had all these things I wanted to do, but no outlet for them. There just wasn't anything going on in Oakville at the time. Since I moved away, it's become quite a vibrant place to be, from what I understand. But which is great. But it wasn't when I was there, and so I moved to town on the prospects of. I was told that it was really easy to get welfare here. You could make $20 an hour as a street musician, which was true, and was true for the first few years I lived here. Um, and there was this theater, collectively run theater space called the Union, and I knew that because I'd been here to visit a few times, and we every time we came up, it was to see something at the Union. Like it was like to see. One time we came up to see Bazooka Joe, this punk band from New York. One time we came up to see another show featuring this band from Ontario we like called the Sons of Ishmael. Um, There was another. I think we came up to see a play once or something like that. I can't remember, but I was in love with this space. It was just like it was like an artistic space with no, like, it was this collectively run, you know, artistic space. Like we. Anyway, I ended up moving here in 1991. I was working as a donut shop night manager, and I have a whole playlist about that job, um, and just things weren't weren't going good for me. And my friend Craig, who I used to come visit here, he called me up one night. It was like 3:30 in the morning, and I guess he just found out his roommate was leaving. And so he called, one of his roommates was leaving. So he called me up. He said, "Hey, I got a room available in my house. You want to move here?" And I was just like, "Yes, count me in. I'll be there first of September." Which was like just 3 weeks away, and I think. at least no longer than a month away. But yeah. Anyway, so I moved here, and all that was true. I got on welfare. I got a great place to live. Uh, I made lots of money being a busker, even though all I could do is play like two or three chords and mumble some lyrics to songs I kind of knew. I was just learning at the point. Um, I could play harmonica. And I think that's what saved me as a street musician, is that I could play harmonica. um, and Yeah, so I moved here, and when I was 21, life was golden, man. Life was beautiful. Like, I could be an artist. This space, the union, it was collectively run, and all you had to do to be on the collective was show up at the meetings. So I started showing up at collective meetings, and I knew nothing about theater at the time. I just wanted to be involved in this space. And it's one thing that the space functioned as was a soup kitchen, um, 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And the person who did the soup kitchen wanted to stop doing it and like pass the torch or whatever. So I was right into that kind of activism, and feeding people, direct action, save the world. And so I did the soup kitchen, and for I think 2 years. And this was how good it was at this time. Like, I was on welfare. Uh, my apartment cost me like $300 a month, which was less than half of my welfare check. Because like you got $700 on welfare. You still get $700 on welfare. It's sick, it's stupid. Um, but yeah, back in the '90s, it was great. It was good money, and so I could, through that and through busking, I could afford to do the soup kitchen, because there was no funding for this soup kitchen. It was just somebody had to do it and pay for it. So, every week I'd go out and buy stuff to make soup, and three days a week I'd make a big pot of soup, and I wasn't a baker yet, but I'd buy a bunch of bread, and we'd serve bowls of soup to whoever came in. It was always a good environment, good cool environment. No hassles, no worries. Um, the food was healthy, it was good, it was safe. Um, it was my first experience kind of running a restaurant. you know um but yeah, anyway, it was cool. We had a pretty solid community of the homeless, um that would come around, or the underemployed, or a lot of my artist friends would come in, um and yeah, it was good. I had to quit doing it because it got emotionally very taxing for me, because there was a person who came, this older, I don't know how old she was at the time, probably in her 40s. I was only like 21, 22, 23 at the time. Um, and she was homeless and had a lot of issues. And I ended up just getting too involved, and having that I can save the world mentality. um, and I ended up kind of offering. It was the winter of '92 in Peterborough, and '93 were both exceedingly vicious winters. Um, so I kind of made the mistake of like keeping my boundaries, keeping the soup kitchen at the soup kitchen and my life as my life. And, I had compassion on this woman because it was so cold, and she asked if she could stay over one night. And I said, yeah, of course, like it's cold out, I gave her my bedroom and I slept on the couch, and, that was all good once, like my roommate was cool with it happening, once. um, but it became kind of um, an expected thing. Like it started becoming like, she would just show up at my door and, you know, expect her room kind of thing, um, and it just became too intrusive. We couldn't live we were 21, 22, 23. We were partying and we were doing stuff. We were busy and living our lives, and you know anyhow, it all culminated one night at the Only, and it was just a night where I couldn't offer her the space. Like I couldn't offer her. My roommate was getting really heaped at me for having her stay there. He was really upset at me about it. And rightly so, for some reason, I don't know. There's two sides to it, right? Um, and let's see, pack a dip here, straight out of the tub, Bobby Stoker's wintergreen. Cheers, praise God. Um, anyhow, yeah, my roommate was really mad at me. I was sick of not having a bedroom anymore in my own apartment. You know, um, my bedroom had turned into like I don't know. I don't want to complain about her. I my personal space had turned into a filthy area of the house, and you know I wasn't. It was just something that was expected of me since I let it happen once, right? And I just didn't know how to say no, and you know, and I feel bad. I still feel bad for having to turn her away. But it was what had to be done, I guess. You know, just because of my own circumstances, or how just it was hard. It's still hard when I think about it. Um, but yeah, anyway, so I was at the Only one night, and it was getting around last call, and this person came into the bar and like was angry with me, saying, where have you been? I need to get in. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna say her name. I said, I can't have you over tonight. My like we had plans. We weren't. It was just a bad night. I don't know how to explain it. It was a bad night, and I said I can't keep you tonight. And I want to make it very clear that when she would stay over at my house, it was not. Uh, there was nothing off color about that. Like, she was much older than me, and I had no. There was no sexual anything, like nothing. Um, and no, 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 no. You know, she was an older person who needed help. you know, and I was the helper, you know. Um, but yeah, so anyway, she got so mad at me at the only I was drinking. She got so mad at me and just started tearing a strip off me, you know, telling me that it was my responsibility. I had offered her a place to stay once, and therefore, you know, I had opened my home to her, and it was now my responsibility to give her my space, you know. And this really made me mad, you know, because this was like went beyond. It was extra, you know, and it wasn't my responsibility to give her my home, you know. Um, it it wasn't my responsibility to do anything. You know, I was doing everything out of the kindness of my own heart, and I was paying for all of it out of pocket. You know, and it was still it broke my heart to it still breaks my heart, you know, that I had to turn her away, but I did. And but yeah, she tore a strip off me that night, and it actually made me really mad because it was like it made me look like a bad guy, you know, and I'd been nothing but good to her, you know, up until that point, and I never did anything bad to her, you know. Um, but anyhow, yeah, that became too much to deal with, and so I had to kind of distance myself. Maybe this is what happened to the person before me, but I had to distance myself from the soup kitchen because it was just I got too involved, and it took a toll on me psychologically. So you can only do so much, right? And yeah, so anyway, I went from doing the soup kitchen on to man. This video is 25 minutes long already. I am so sorry, people. Um, I haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet, but you know, I started to learn how to do theater, and I learned every aspect of how to do theater over the. I worked at the union for about 6 years, and you know, for as long as it was open. Like I moved here about. It had been open for about a year uh, before I moved here, and you know, so I worked there for the majority of the time it was open. I sat on the collective, and I ended up writing. You know, I was a writer. I wrote a lot of poetry and songs, as a 21-year-old angry young man does. You know, and you know, I still do, and but I began to be a playwright. I began to get interested in like the theater of the absurd, um, like the Dadaist movement. Um, uh, yeah, just like, you know, just experimental theater. I got really interested in, and I became a playwright of sorts. And I I've written about 30 performance pieces or scripts, and you know that have been put on here in town at the Union and elsewhere. Um, and you know, so that was kind of cool for a while. um, you know, at the end of the Union, when the Union was coming to a close, I'm just going to cut out a whole bunch of stuff and get to the point here. But you know, when the Union ended up closing, it was because, you know, like, the Union was so cool. Like, not only did we do a brand new play every 2 weeks, the space completely transformed every 2 weeks into a different room, you know, because of the play set that would be up. Um, it was amazing, you know. Yeah, and on top of all the theater we did tons of music there. There was bands playing there all the time. Touring bands would come and play there. There was a band that shot a video there. It was a very vibrant place. And we used to do these all night, late night coffee houses, we called them. And they were like folky coffee houses, basically, where we sold beer. They were like a booze can but it was cool because like there was no people that came and caused trouble. You know, we never had trouble that's why the cops let us do it. It's because we never had trouble. They knew about it, but they always left us alone. And we sold beer. We sold beer openly. We sold it at shows. We sold it at these late night coffee houses. We never got in trouble. It was pretty golden. Um, and these late night coffee houses would consist of new songwriters coming up and playing their songs. I was one of those people. That's how I kind of started performing in front of crowds. Um, other than being a busker, which was just people walking by. I actually started to play for a room full of people and started cutting my teeth as a performing musician. Um, there was poetry readings. I was really into that. This was before the whole poetry slam thing came into effect and poetry became a competition or like more like a rap battle. And I was just a poetry writer, and I would read off pages, or little chapbooks I'd publish. I'd been a big proponent of do-it-yourself publishing for years. I'd done it since I was in grade 9. And when I started my first punk rock fanzine, Warehouse of Strangers, um, and you know, it was cool. It was really cool. It was really cool. Those nights really were formative times of a lot of the art that went on in town and a lot of the artists and musicians that went on to do great things. There's a very famous comedian, Sean Collins or something like that. I can't remember. I know there was a comedian that hung out at these late night coffee houses in Canada, and now he's like a world renowned comedian. I think his name's Sean Collins. Um, hmm Anyhow, when the union closed, or it became apparent that we were going to have to close, the cultural studies department at Trent University, who had originally opened the union, um, and had given it a 6-month life expectancy. Now it was 6 years later, and getting on 7, and we were having troubles paying rent, and we couldn't sustain it any longer. Because that was our total, like our we didn't have outside funding. We didn't. Other than a little bit from Theatre Trent, all of the legit theater in town, like Arbor Theater, Fourth Line Theater, didn't take us seriously. But we they didn't know what they were missing. But anyhow, at the end of it, a bunch of us, um, you know, the cultural studies department at Trent wanted to celebrate the fact that over um, about a third of the work that got put on at the union was original and like Canadian original theater and written in town. So they wanted to take the most prominent playwrights, like who had been the most influential, had produced the most work, um, produced the most quality work. And I was lucky enough to be included in that group of people. It was 6 people. We got books published at the end of it, of our plays, or of a couple of our plays, not all of our plays. I got the third, fourth, and fifth play I written and put into a book. Had them all right handy. Yeah. These things. I don't have a complete collection. I'm missing a couple of them. But yeah, like these are some of the books that got published. This is by my friend. They're just little chapbooks, and they all kind of look like this red. They all kind of look the same. Two plays by Philip Kummel. This is my favorite one. Electric Chair BJ and Blow. These were both phenomenal absurdist plays. I can't express how cool these plays are. I've seen two productions of ECB, and both of them were incredible. I've seen one production of Blow. It was great. Yeah, this is Phil's a good friend of mine, and he's probably my favorite writer. Yeah, Phil Kummel. Good writer. Kind of an asshole, but he's a good friend. I love him. Circuit Coming by Josh Meisner. This play, a lot of the dialogue in this play was taken from Josh used to hang out at me and my old buddy Chris's apartment, and he used to just sit and listen to the two of us talking, and he'd always say, "You guys, I'm gonna write you into a play somehow," and he did in this play. Two of the characters, Lewis and Jay, are based on me and Chris, and it's basically our like what our dialogue word for word, except he and we played the characters Jay and Lewis in the play, except I played Chris and he played me. I can't remember. Let's see if it says in the book who plays who. This was all about a serial killer. It was a really good play, Circuit Coming. Yeah, Lewis was played by me, and Jay was played by my friend Chris. Chris went under the stage name Ray Pistol. He appeared in a lot of plays. He was kind of a local legend. Ray Pistol, Yeah, this was a cool play. Josh went on to do a lot of cool stuff. He had a bigger book published by Ordinary Press, the group that put out this play, 5 plays. Great writer. He'd be a good writer for like crime dramas and stuff. I don't know what he does now, but it's probably something like that. The Mercy Show by Tim Etherington. This was I never saw this play. This was right before I moved to town, but it's about a sad clown named Mercy. And yeah, cool play. Really cool play to read. Tim's one of the best writers I've ever met, along with Phil. Now, Esther Vincent had a book published of a play. I think it was called The Lost Euchre Player or something like that. It's a brilliant play, but I don't have a copy of it for some reason. I must have lost it in a move. And there's another one that I'm completely forgetting. Might have been by my friend Tim Crease or something. I don't know. But anyhow, this is my book. This is the original poster. This picture was taken from the original poster for this play, Day for Non. This play has seen a number of productions put on. It's kind of my hit play, Day for Non. A couple people did stagings of it after the original staging. One of the stagings got put on at the toy shop in Peterborough. I think that's kind of cool. Directed by my friend Karan. But yeah, Playpen, that's a complete mess of a play. People really like that play. It's a real mess though. and re ipsa locator, which I believe in Latin means let the good times roll. And it's just like more of a poetry dance piece that I wrote. But yeah, this is my book. It's got ISBN number and everything. It's in the Library of Canada. Yeah, so I'm a certified Canadian playwright. Um, yeah, it's cool, and has original. Yeah, all the. I opened all the plays with a picture from the original poster. That was the original poster. Playpen. It's a horrible play. It's so foul. But anyway, it was cool. Interesting stuff that happened. The day that these books were released, I was very excited about this because this was the first time I'd ever had a book published that I didn't publish myself. I used to publish lots of little poetry chapbooks. Like this is one by my friend Chris called the Blanket Show that I published for him. Cockroach Publications. That was one of my publications names. It went on to become something called Moto Press that I did some prisoner work with and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I used to publish. Like this is a book I wrote called Justice in Five-Part Harmony. That's a poetry book. I wrote this in like 1993 or 4. But yeah, anyhow, I got this book published, and I consider this my university diploma, my thesis, all that, all wrapped up. It's 3 plays I wrote got published and put in the Library of Canada. So there you go. I feel accomplished. I dedicated my book to Robert J. Nesbitt, who was a very influential character in Oakville. This guy I used to hang out with. I met him in the shopping mall. This book is dedicated to Robert J. Nesbitt, who, while screaming Sex Pistols songs at the top of his lungs while playing pinball in a shopping mall arcade, first inspired me to start writing poetry back in 1985. And that's a true story. So yeah. Yeah, that's a poster for Day for Non. Cool. It was a cool play. I don't know. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but this is how Josh Meisner he wrote an introduction to my book. It says P.D. Walsh, pronounced Walsh or Walsh, is a playwright. The plays he writes communicate a strange heat. They are strangely seductive. They smoke the apiaries of the already bored masses. They rumble beneath the manholes. Walsh's plays are different from other plays. They are not familiar. They fail to respect aesthetic confines. They resist plot, character, endogamy. Aristotle's surprising yet inevitable climax is ignored. These and other admired contrivances don't interest Walsh. They do not apply. Analytic lapidation cannot desublimate Walsh's theater, so save your reasoned observations for a wager with takers. Learn from the quondam raconteur who, while attempting to replicate Walsh's discord, fell into the deepest caesura, whatever that is. You've been warned to enjoy. So, and the introduction I wrote says, these are 3 short absurdist plays I have written which first saw productions at the Union Theatre during 1994 to 1995. They have been described as better than glue, completely against pop culture, and the most disturbing, uncomfortable display I have ever seen. I think I must be going in the right direction. I would like to thank those. I would like to thank the Union Collective, the actors who did these shows, especially Scooter, Peter Enns, Matt Gilbert, Kevin Allen, R.I.P., Karan Garside, Ryan Kerr, Philip Hummel, Alexis Gordon, R.I.P., Tim Etherington, Josh Meisner, and Ian McLaughlin for the inspiration, the enthusiasm, and the insanity. Extra special thanks to Chris Brown and Nathan Goldbeer for their friendship and care. Chris was my childhood best friend, and Nathan came short behind him. So, yeah. So I just wanted to show that. This is my big claim to fame as a writer in Canada. I'm a published Canadian playwright. So, thanks to the Union. Peterborough used to be a really cool town. It still is a cool town, as I said in my last video about it. But it used to be heavenly for artists. It was cheap town to live in, completely artistically anointed, and it was just such a vibrant place to live, Of course, I continued my alcoholism. It just grew and grew. I became a very, very problem drinker during those years, during the 90s as a whole. And I never got in fights I wasn't mean or anything. The drunker I got, the happier I got. But it caused my liver to blow up and I got alcoholic hepatitis, or I got diagnosed with alcoholic hepatitis in 2001 and had to quit drinking immediately. The doctor gave me a year to live, and that was 22 years ago. So yeah, I'm still here. I'm glad I quit drinking. Life beyond drinking has been something else, but at least I quit drinking. But yeah. Anyhow, thanks for listening to my long-winded story about Peterborough, everybody. I know this video is 45 minutes now, but hopefully somebody enjoys it. I like to come on and tell my stories sometimes, and I don't do it so much anymore, but this one's a long one, all about Peterborough and the Union Theatre and what happened there. And that's just, all that what I told you throughout the course of this video is just a fragment of what happened at the Union Theatre. It's just a basic, generalized, very general description of what happened there. It was an incredible place that I will never forget. Long live the Union. It was an ex-coffin factory, a windowless ex-coffin factory on Hunter Street. And we made it into the best underground theater that you could possibly imagine. So, anyhow, thanks for watching my video, folks. I'm sorry it's 45 minutes long, but I hope you all are good and well. God bless you. And, God bless you. I hope you're all doing good and well. Be well, stay free, and I'll see you next video.